Today on Rainmakers, we're thrilled to share the inspiring story of Mayra Mena. Recognizing the challenges faced by immigrants, she works tirelessly to provide essentials food supplies to those in need. Join us to learn how Mayra's compassionate initiatives are transforming lives one act at a time. Thank you for interviewing for Rainmakers, Mayra. We're happy to have you with us.
Yes, thank you so much for inviting me to be part of this interview, and I hope it'll be a blessing for those watching.
Before we dive into the interview head first, to learn more about this amazing project that you're involved with, could you give us a little bit of background about yourself?
My name is Mayra Mena, and we currently attend Henderson Highway Seventh-day Adventist Church in Winnipeg.
In our conversation earlier, you mentioned that you helped out with an immigrant-focused project of sorts. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
The project we work with, it helps immigrant families. We have been able to, I guess you could say, find, or they've come to us about 100 families, over 100 families. We don't have a particular name for the program, but we distribute food for them every single week on Wednesday afternoons. The number of people that will help will depend on the number of items that we have and how much food we're able to get from either Harvest Manitoba or our surplus from ACS or Sobey's bread. So that will depend, but usually about 30 to 45 families each week.
How did this project start?
Our churches here in Winnipeg, they kind of restructure our Adventist community services here in Winnipeg. And with my husband, we started working in December, January of this year. And we found that there was a lot of leftovers. And one particular family who was from Cuba was currently on that harvest list. And she mentioned how she knew so many families that could actually benefit from all our leftovers. And one day I called her and I said, hey, could you contact those families that you know and see if they'd be willing to come and grab all these items? We have so much and it's gonna go bad. And so she did, and we had maybe 10 families at that point. And then we started sharing more through her. And then we were up to 20. But it wasn't actually until about maybe May of this year when we were finally able to get into the Harvest Manitoba surplus list that we were able to expand this more. Because with their help, we're able to have more food, and then other members heard about it and they started donating money too. And then the local church jumped into, and they have a fund for it now. So probably May was when we started hitting about 60 families, and then through word of mouth, we're at about 107. And every week I get about at least 2 to 4 families that are new that hear about the program and they just ask to be on the list.
Was there already a food bank in place at your church before this project began?
We have our Adventist community services. They work with Harvest Manitoba. They have their own client list that they serve every other week. So through them, every other week, we get their surplus, right? And then the other week, we get food from Harvest Manitoba. So it's a separate thing. And then we get food from Sobey's. And whatever week we do not have enough, then we tap into the local church fund that has been created for this project.
What percentage of food comes from the Adventist Community Services and from the Manitoba Harvest?
Every other week, most of it comes from ACS, the surplus that they have from their own clients. And the other week, it comes from Harvest Manitoba's surplus. So we get put on a list. We can't get into that list every week because they have a whole bunch of other community centers and schools that also have similar projects perhaps, and they're targeting different audience. So they get extra food for their food banks, right? So when we are able to, which has been every other week consistently, then we will get the food from them.
Where do the immigrants that you are helping come from? What is their background?
Most of these immigrants, we have found that probably more than 50% come from Chile. Chile has a new program where they're giving immigrants a working holiday visa, which gives them a year to come to Canada with an open work permit and try to find work. Unfortunately, there has been a whole bunch of other immigrants from other countries, right? And it's been a challenge for them to find work. Therefore, having access to food has been a benefit from them. We also have people from Peru, from Dominican Republic, from Ecuador, from Costa Rica that come through other different immigration avenues. Sometimes their spouse will come as a student, and then the partner has a work permit. And then through that, they're able to fix their paperwork here in Canada. There are others that come by themselves, which is a bit harder for them because they're not able to work as much. Therefore, they don't have enough money. And oftentimes I do get text messages, hey, can you put me again on the list? I still can't find work, and it has been a blessing for me to come to the food bank. And it's sometimes so sad because you have to say no because you have a list of all the other people that you have, that it's their turn technically, right, to come to the food bank. And they also have their own stories and what they need. So sometimes it's a little, I get stressful and sad to have to say no to families that do need it.
This is a big operation. I mean, you're helping so many families each week. Surely you must have a team of people that help you in some capacity.
So right now, I mainly head the program as far as finding the supplies and creating the list every week. But we do have members of the Hispanic community, like the Hispanic church here in Winnipeg. They help us sort through the food items if there are some things that may need to be cleaned out. We also have the church pastor that comes. But recently, what was suggested and we have done, and it's working really great, is inviting the immigrant families to come and help us. So what this has done is that we're able to connect with them and befriend them, and we know their problems and we pray for them. We give them rides if they need help. We just it's created a bond with a few of them through just them coming and helping us out in a program that is already benefiting them.
Could this bond with the immigrant families become something more than just a connection over food, where you are perhaps helping future rainmakers? Where do you think this could lead?
Yes, definitely. Because, like, talking with these people, the main reason why they come and help is because they feel so grateful. They're like, we can't support this financially yet, but perhaps one day we will. But right now, this ministry or this initiative has blessed us so much that we want to give back. And a lot of times they approach me and they're like, okay, I can't come right now to help on a Wednesday afternoon, but when you come on Tuesday and you bring stuff from the surplus, can we come and help you sort? And they're constantly asking, or just thanking us and saying, hey, one day when we're in a better situation, we want to help more and we want to be more involved in this.
Are there any stories that stand out to you in your time helping with this food bank?
Well, there are two families in particular that we were able to meet kind of like at the beginning, like back in May when we started getting that extra surplus. We just, since there weren't that many at that point, we were able to talk to them more and we were actually able to befriend them. And we visited them many times, if they needed to go somewhere, because one of them was in a wheelchair, is in a wheelchair. So if they needed rides or anything, we would take them for paperwork. So if they needed to go buy something, and they invited us to their house. They actually invited us for birthday parties for themselves and for their children. So we were able to bond in a different way. And praise God, they actually have come to the church many times and they're currently taking Bible studies, both families. So we feel that, through this and befriending the people that we come in contact with, and just them feeling that genuine love that we have for them, and how that honestly we genuinely want to help them. We want them to be in a better place. That I feel that they sense that, and they feel that the relationship is not coming from a place where we're just trying to fake it and just want to bring them to church, but we really care about them and we want them to succeed in this country.
Have you seen the lives in these families positively affected in other ways, other than just food sense? Perhaps in a spiritual sense?
Yes, like when we visited them at home, and then they started taking Bible studies with the pastor at the Spanish church, and we visited them. They're like, wow, we learned so much last week. I mean, we couldn't let the pastor go home because he kept telling us, and we were learning about the Adventist church and the history and everything. And she's a history teacher, so she was fascinated by everything and everything she learned. Like, their family seems more connected. He says that he used to work a lot in his country, but he's realized, the importance of family here, and everything that he's been learning, I feel, has been impacting his life and her life. We hope that more changes will happen in their hearts, and that one day they will accept Christ.
I see. Are there any other stories that stand out to you?
There's this other particular family that it's a husband and a wife. They come. They're supposed to be on the list every other week. So normally I will send a message saying, hey, whoever's on the list this week, if you have some time, we would love for you to come out and help us with the distribution. And usually she's the first one that wants to come and volunteer, even when she's not on the list. Sometimes I say, hey, I feel bad you're not on the list. But she's like, no, it doesn't matter whether we are on the list or not. We just want to go, we just want to help. And this one time, actually last week, they had an incident with their vehicle where it was vandalized, and she was like, I would really want to come. I want to do something good. I want to forget about this situation that has happened to us, and I want to come and do some good and be with you guys and just share and be in community. Well, yesterday we went to pick up beds. Somebody put me in contact with an old CBC radio guy who he'd been like in CBC radio, and he wanted to get rid of some stuff, and it had to be by yesterday. So we went there, grabbed the furniture. So we do that kind of stuff, right? And then through that chat, I always put announcements of people that need furniture or that we have furniture. I put announcements about the church, and I also put the announcement about the English classes. So from there, whoever wants to, they go to the English classes. But stories about that, I just know they love it. That's every time on Wednesday when they come and I check with them, hey, how are the English classes? They're like, oh, they're amazing. The teacher's great. And
Now, my next question is a bit different, Mayra. I'm interested to learn a little bit more of how this ministry has perhaps changed your life. How have you been affected by being involved in this ministry?
I feel that, well, it has honestly kind of drawn me to my niece a little more, because sometimes we don't have enough food, and I'm wondering where are we going to get more food. Or I hope that we can apply elsewhere, or I want to go talk to Costco, or I want to do this. So I find that I've been praying more, trying to find ways and asking the Lord to just provide, right? It's helped me spiritually to grow more in the desire to serve. And it's like, what more can we do? I mean, we're feeding them, we're helping them in this way, but how else can we actually impact their life? And it's just made me question my own life and the things that I have, and perhaps the entitlement that we have in this country of all the material stuff that we have, when sometimes we can use that to help and bless other families. So it's made me question my own reality, the way I bring up my kids, and being able to teach them how to serve. Like, sometimes we read it in the Bible about what Jesus did and serving, but we don't do it, right? So through this ministry, I'm able to take my children and being able to actually show them what service is and how they can also help other people along the way.
Have you faced any challenges in your work? If so, how are you dealing with them?
Well, I guess there are personal challenges with the volunteer work, and there's also challenges in the whole logistic of it. Being able to not having enough food, or sometimes overbooking people accidentally and then running out, or sometimes we have walk-ins that they're just from the community randomly, not immigrants at all, but since they see a big lineup and commotion, they want to come, and then you don't want to turn anybody away, right? Whether they are on your list or not. So sometimes we've had to just quickly go into the pantry and see if we have some extra from surplus or extra from what's supposed to be on the harvest list, and then buying it later on to cover for what we ended up using that we were not supposed to. Challenges sometimes with people's schedules not working out. like from our own volunteers on our end, and just the load kind of falling on one or two people. And sometimes that can be stressful and challenging. And for me, I have young kids, so I homeschool my kids. So then schedule and time management and trying to find the time to do it all, right? Time to do school, time to serve, time to go pick up food, time to go distribute it. The Lord provides the time. Sometimes not everything gets done in one week, but the most important things seem to be covered. And as far as food, somehow we always find the food. And even when we have walk ins, we have enough. So the Lord just makes everything work out.
Can you describe a moment when you felt God's presence while serving others?
Usually when we start, like right before we open the door, even if we have people that are not from the church, we take the time to pray. We always pray that everybody that comes through that door will feel God's presence, that they will feel that they are cared for, that they are valued, and that we want to help them. And through the afternoon, as people come, sometimes random people will just approach me or one of our volunteers, and they will just open up, share their stories, either immigration problems, or they'll share their personal stories, what's going on in their family. And not every time, but there are times when we're able to pray for them, or we're able to say, hey, can I come and visit you? And it's just those moments when you feel, okay, God is using me. God has a plan for this, even though it might seem like a small project. God has a plan as we meet these individuals, that as we get to know them better, then we can see how else we can serve them and ultimately be able to show them Christ.
Why do you do what you do? What is your motivation?
Starting it was, I'm an immigrant. I came to Canada when I was 9. My parents were immigrant, and I know their struggle. I know as soon as I learned English, I was their interpreter. So surprisingly, I keep doing that. I continue to interpret for people, for these immigrants that sometimes they're like, hey, I can't call this place. Can you help me? So I guess my motivation starting is my past. The fact that I know what it's like to be an immigrant in this country, and perhaps not under the same conditions, because every immigrant comes here for different reasons and through different avenues. Um, but my other motivation are my kids. Like I mentioned earlier, we, like I mentioned, we show them Christ through Bible stories, but I think that we also need to show it in actions. I feel like I need to show them what service is like and what helping other people in our community actually looks like, just so they don't hear about it, but they see it.
What role do you think faith communities should play in addressing social issues?
I think our churches should definitely be an example for this. I think we are all called to service. Christ came to serve, and we're called to be his feet here on earth. We're called to do what he did. And we definitely should be involved, no matter the project, whether it's a big project or a small project. And perhaps we can support other organizations and other efforts that have already been started. We may not want to or have to do everything from scratch, but if we see that there's a good community center or a good organization that is going forth and helping communities and people and bettering their lives, we definitely should be involved and support them. I would love for us to be able to not have to turn people away and be able to feed all the families weekly. I would love for us to expand to other immigrant communities, not just Hispanic, but there's so many immigrants here in Canada that it's easier for me, you could say, because of the language, but we can always partner up with people from our church, from other nationalities, and expand it to help other immigrant groups. We are able through this to help people with their English, because from this particular project, we send them to the Spanish church where they are able to take free English classes. So they come to us, and then we're able to help them with that other aspect. But yes, definitely, we would love to partner up with other institutions, either for funds or for food, to be able to just expand it to the Hispanic community and perhaps to other immigrant communities.
What do you think is the biggest misconception people have about volunteering?
I think people sometimes think they have to do it all. They feel like if they jump into a project, um, They think that they have to cover everything. And sometimes they forget that, there's always a team. Not everything will fall on their shoulders. And they may feel that they have to give all their time. But sometimes, even if you have just an hour or half an hour to serve, it's something. And sometimes they feel projects are too small. What difference is it going to make if I just give a family food every other week? How is that really going to help them, right? I'm not really helping them completely. I'm just providing for just a tiny basic need. But I think that when we help consistently and we're consistently in their lives and they see that we genuinely care about them, then that small, effort, it could actually add up to be a very big thing in their lives, because they will come to a place where they will be better and they will remember, I think, their starts and how they were helped. And every effort that we make to help somebody, it's always a well done effort.
What is your call to action to those watching at home? What would you like them to leave with?
I would honestly ask everyone to pray for our ministry, because we don't know whose life we're touching for eternity, right? With every connection that we make every week or every other week with them. I would honestly love for other people to consider helping immigrants in their community. They're new to the country. They may not know the language, so perhaps it might be hard for you to communicate with them. But immigrants are always grateful for the help. I know I was when I was a child. Whenever we went to a different church or organization that gave us winter jackets or helped my parents with food or translating, coming to a different country is hard. So for immigrants to feel that warmth from us as a church, I believe that us helping immigrants will really help their lives for eternity. They see that we genuinely care about them, that we want them to have a good future in this country, will open up their heart to perhaps other truths, biblical truths that will help them come to Jesus.
Thank you for sharing your experience, Mayra.
Thank you very much for taking the time to interviewing me today. I really enjoyed our conversation, and I hope that this will touch someone's heart and that they will jump into volunteering and helping and supporting others in their community.
After hearing this incredible story, do you feel inspired to help us continue bring these life-changing moments to your screen? Your support allows us to keep shining a light on the volunteers making a difference. If you would like to contribute to the production of Hope Channel Canada and its ministries, it's easy. Head over to agentsofhope.ca, where you can choose from a variety of ways to donate: debit, credit, Google Pay, Apple Pay, or even e-transfer to Agents of Hope at hopetv.ca. Prefer sending a check? You can mail it to the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Canada at Hope Channel Canada, 1148 King Street East, Oshawa, Ontario, L1H 1H8. And if you want a more personal touch, give us a call at 1-855-4-HOPE-TV. That's 1-855-446-7388. And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Hope Channel Canada and hit the bell to never miss an episode. Plus, you can catch this program on multiple platforms: hopetv.ca, cable television, the Roku app, the Hope Channel app, and of course, YouTube. Are you searching for answers to life's deepest questions? Hope Study offers free online Bible courses that explore topics like faith, love, hope, and finding purpose in life, all at your own pace and from the comfort of your own home. One of our featured studies is Why Is There Pain and Suffering in This Life?, which addresses one of life's most challenging questions and offers hope and biblical insights. This course is designed to help you find meaning and understanding during difficult times. Signing up is simple and completely free at hopestudy.ca. Start your journey today and feel free to share this resource with those who are also seeking answers. Discover life's answers. Visit hopestudy.ca now and begin your journey. Next week on Rainmakers, Tune in as we explore the powerful work of Conexion, a community project founded by Juan Alvarez. From free consultations to supportive services, see how this initiative is making lasting change. Discover heartfelt stories, challenges overcome, and the faith that fuels this movement. Watch and be inspired to make a difference in your own community. Today, I want to dive into what truly means to be a rainmaker, someone who shares Jesus with the world. When we share Jesus, we're not just offering a name or a religion, we're giving you everything that matters: hope, faith, and most importantly, love. As rainmakers, we're called to bring the refreshing rain of God's presence to a dry and thirsty world. When we share Jesus, we're sharing hope. Think about the times when you felt life was very heavy, when you didn't know what tomorrow would bring. Jesus gives us hope in those moments. As rainmakers, we carry that hope to others. We're also sharing faith. Faith, faith is a confidence that no matter what storm comes our way, God is in control. When we share Jesus, we help others build a bridge of faith between their struggles and God's promises. Faith moves mountains. And as rainmakers, we're here to stir that faith in others. But above all, being a rainmaker means sharing love. Jesus' love is unconditional, sacrificial, and transforming. It's a love that reaches beyond the flaws and fears. When we share Jesus, we're sharing a love that has the power to change lives. So, as rainmakers, let's step into our calling boldly. Let's bring hope, faith, and love into the lives of those around us, knowing that when we share Jesus, we are bringing life-giving rain to a parched world.